yesterday I had a graduation ceremony, and I filmed a video that was like 15 minutes talking about like graduation, graduating tech school, and just life in general. And I watched that video back, but I just felt like my thoughts were very scattered. I was feeling a lot of different things. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna refilm it and really like articulate my thoughts better. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but my vocabulary is getting better. That's because I'm not brainwatting anymore. I'm not brainwatting my life away. I'm only really on YouTube, and I feel so much better. You know, yesterday I was having a conversation with a friend about deleting TikTok, and she was like, well, you were doing good, like why'd you delete it? And I'm like, girl, my brain was rotting and I did not like that feeling, and I felt like I was wasting my time in my life. And I told her I felt like I wasn't able to really push out meaningful content. And also when I was talking to my coworker about like just deleting TikTok and things like that, she was like, you know, a lot of people who are on TikTok, they don't really watch YouTube. So I'm like, it's a very good point. But anyway, all this to say, I have a lot of thoughts today, but we are mainly going to talk about graduating tech school, and where I want to go from here on, and just my thoughts on college and everything. So yesterday I had my ceremony and I graduated from the business administration program, which was a year and a half. Trade school is different from like traditional 4-year college. I didn't graduate from uni or anything. I wish, but no, if I graduated from university at the age of 20 with a bachelor's or master's, that would be pretty impressive, don't you think? So yeah, that's why like some people, when I tell them I'm graduating, they're like, oh my god, like, you know, how old are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm 20. And they're like, oh. And then I have to explain further that it's a trade program. And they're like, oh. I'm like, yeah. Also, my friends are all in college, and it's just like weird, you know. They're like, girl, you're graduating? I'm like, yeah, I'm done with my program. It was a pretty short program. I remember at the age of 18 when I graduated high school and I was just working. I took a semester off of school. I didn't want to get right into college. I wanted to think about what I wanted to do. And I remember like thinking about trade school or thinking about college. And my thing with college is I like learning. I like education. I think education is important. I like studying different topics. There are so many different things that I'm very interested in life. And like going to college for me as an immigrant like was never like an option. It was always like, you have to go, you have to go. But right now, like the state of the world is different. You know, the economy is different. The job market is different. The job market sucks, by the way. I can tell you that as somebody graduating trade school who's in the process of getting a job. And also, the job market for college students, especially university students, sucks even more for college graduates. Imagine, like trade school is it's so much more easier in the sense that they're job focused, they're straightforward, you get right to the point. Whereas college, like you're kind of off your own, like you got to figure it all out on your own. And that's not to say that you don't have to figure things out on your own in trade school, but it's just college is more, I don't know, it's less job focused, I guess. I don't know, but all that to say, the state of the world is very different now. You know, it's not like what it used to be. Before, like back then in the, I guess maybe 2000s and the 1900s, like you could get a college degree in anything and you could get a job. Like any college degree was useful. You could get a degree in arts and still get a job. Whereas now, like so many college degrees are oversaturated, and a lot of jobs, they want you to have the experience, but then these people spend 4 years literally, you know, getting the degree. And so it's like, how do you expect them to have the experience when they're spending more time getting the degree and everything, but then you require a degree? And the other thing too is college is expensive, and I'm lucky that I didn't have to pay for college and that I'm eligible for grants, and I'm trying to take advantage of that, and I have. But now I'm in a weird situation where I don't know if I can get grants anymore, and that's not because of everything that's going on right now. It's just like fastest stuff that I'm trying to figure out that I don't think I want to go too much into detail. But for me, I've always been interested in going out of state. But let's go back a little bit. You know, let's talk about when I was like 18 and I was deciding whether or not I wanted to go to college and what made me want to go to trade school instead of like a traditional university or a community college. I wanted to go to trade school because it was more job focused, and my goal was always to get a job that pays me enough to be able to move out. That's looking a lot harder now. But I had this one conversation with this bus driver when I used to take like the UTA through and back before I had a car. And this bus driver was like recommending me to go to trade school. He was like, you should take the trade route. And thankfully the trade school I was interested in had what I was interested in, which was business administration. I didn't take the accounting route because accounting is not for me. It is hard, and I just think I'm going to be very miserable doing it. So I'm like, no, I'm going the administration route. But he was like, trade school is more job focused, it's more straightforward, it's more hands-on, and the whole point of it is you go, you get a certificate, you get a job, and you get sometimes even your license depending on what program you go into to get into a more high-paying job. Whereas college, he's like, there are thousands of college graduates every single year, and only about 200, 300, or a few hundreds of them get a job. And you guys know how the job market now is. Like, they require all of this from you, and then they barely want to pay you enough to do the job. Like, jobs in America, I could go on and on and on and on about my beef with the job market. And most people are working 3 jobs just to survive, just to keep a roof over their head. And I'm lucky that I live at home, but I don't want to live at home for any longer. Like, I want to move out by next year because I'm so fed up living at home. I feel suffocated. It's overwhelming, it's overstimulating, and when you live in a very chaotic, toxic household, it's not easy. Like, you spend your whole life surviving it. You look forward to graduating high school, you look forward to being an adult just so you can move out and get the fuck out of it. And then you're like, oh, so it's not that easy. Like, what's going on? Like, what do you mean I have to pay $1,500? You know, and I know some people like, get a roommate. I'm considering all the options. I'm looking into all of that. I just want to complain for a little bit about how hard it is and how hard they have made it for us young folks in this economy, because some people like make it seem like we're just complaining about the economy and all that. No, things are going up by the second every single day. I have literally put gas in my car, my 2011 Toyota Camry. Like, I put gas on it once a week, and that's like $40. And if you're like, girl, what, like, where are you going? It's not me, it's my family. I'm the designated driver. Me and my sister have to drive everybody else around. That shit sucks. It is not for the weak. Living in a toxic household, especially if you live in an ethnic toxic household, is not for the weak. But I also have to be careful moving out because I never want to have to come back, you know? Okay, I'm sorry, I went on a little side tangent. Going back to what I was saying, my thing with college is the trade route taught me a lot about myself. I am very good with hands-on, you know. I'm very good with, like, I'm a visual learner, you know. And with trade school, like, my trade school, at least the one I go to, they don't allow you to take more than 1 class. You take 1 course at a time, but I'm a full-time student. I have to be full-time because with grants I have to have 12 hours like a week, I think, or something. And I also work full-time. I work 4 days, 32 hours a week. Sorry, all that to say, I thrive in the trade route. That's something I've learned about myself. Now, trade school is so different. There's no really social aspect, and I always enjoy doing like activities in high school, so that's something that like is hard for me, or was hard for me. And I did feel like with all my friends going to college, or them like going out of state and things like that, like I felt very lonely because I knew when I was taking the trade route, I was taking a different route. You know what I mean? My brothers are in high school. One of them is graduating this year. The other one is a junior, is 11th grader, and they're both becoming plumbers. They're both going to the same trade school that I went to, and they're getting their plumbing license. And I'm very proud of them, and I'm very happy for them because I know they're gonna be making bank. But also the trade school that I go to, you can go in there while you're in high school. You can get your certifications and then your license and things like that. And they don't want to go to college because they don't want to waste 4 years, and they don't really like school like that. I like learning, I liked school, but I just also feel like I'm going to be very stressed with 4 classes and like working full time and or part time and things like that. But my other thing too is if I go to college, I want to go out of state. And I know some people are going to see this video, they're going to be like, girl, that is very expensive. I know. But my thing is, I am trying to find any way to get out of this environment because I feel like I'm going crazy every single day. I'm tired of being frustrated. I'm tired of feeling suffocated all the time. I'm tired of being irritated all the freaking time. It's exhausting. Okay, that's why I get frustrated when I see these TikTok videos that are like, if you're in your 20s, if you're young, live at home, stay at home, live with your parents, and don't move out. Da, da, da. I get like, again, I'm not looking down on living with your parents. I don't think there's anything wrong with living with your parents. The thing is, not all of us are privileged to have a healthy family dynamic. Not all of us are privileged to live in a healthy household where it's not chaotic, where it's not toxic, where there's not something going on all the time, where you're not put on a lot of stress and responsibilities that's not your own. Okay, to give you a little bit of background, I have 8 siblings, including me's 9. Okay, there's 4 older than me, 4 younger than me. I'm the middle of 9. The 4 older, 2 are girls, 2 are boys. The 4 younger, 2 are girls, 2 are boys. So it's a lot. You know, we live in a house, yes. But now it's less chaotic now because they're 4 of them moved out. 1 got his own place, 2 moved out together, the other one has a kid and has her own place. And so now it's a lot less of us, and I'm very grateful because it's a lot less chaotic now. But I feel, not even I feel, like I owe it to myself to give myself the safe space that I need to be able to just breathe, to just not be irritated all the time and not stress. I owe it to myself. Stress is always going to be around, you know. Living out, like, I know that like moving out and even living with a roommate, you could meet the wrong roommate, or just living alone or living by yourself or things like that. All of that I know is not easy either, but it gets to a point where you're like, do I have to keep surviving my whole life? Like, is this it? Like, is this it? And I know this is not it, and that's why I started this YouTube channel, because I'm like, you're spending too much time planning and doing this and doing that. You need to just do it. You need to just start, even if it's your phone camera and this mic. Start. You don't have to have everything right now, you know. And I'm broke myself, but we all broke trying to survive this economy. Yeah, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and complain and whine about how broke I am and how life sucks. No, I know there are better things out there for me, and I'm willing to go after them. I just know that in doing that, I'm gonna have to disappoint my parents, because you know what I'm talking about. If you have Somali parents, they want you to do things a specific way, or especially if you have immigrant parents, they think that college is the only route. And now we live in a time where, like, most people are waking up to the fact that you don't have to have like a college degree. College is not the only way. There are so many different, you're spending too much time planning and doing this and doing that. You need to just do it. You need to just start, even if it's your phone camera and this mic. Start. You don't have to have everything right now, you know. And I'm broke myself, but we all broke trying to survive this economy. Yeah, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and complain and whine about how broke I am and how life sucks. No, I know there are better things out there for me, and I'm willing to go after them. I just know that in doing that, I'm gonna have to disappoint my parents, because you know what I'm talking about if you have Somali parents. But you don't have to go into the entrepreneur and business route either. My brothers, they're not going to like college, they're going to like trade school for like a few months or a year, and they're getting their plumbing license, and they're going to be a plumber and make bank. You know, there's so many different options, and I'm not limiting myself to college and only going out of state, but I do want to give it a chance if I could afford it, or if I don't have to take out a loan. You know, if I could get the opportunity to do that, I will. And even though I love the state I live in, and I've lived in this state for um since I was 12, and there are a lot of great things about it, I also hate this state. Like, if you don't know, I live in Utah, and there are a lot of great things about Utah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and just bash and hate on Utah. Like, there are so many outdoor activities. People come from other states to go skiing and to do the outdoor activities here. Um, you know, last just like this summer, my family went to Lagoon. My brother has a job where he gets a big discount for family and for himself for Lagoon, so we pretty much get to go every year. And I know there's a lot of people who come, and uh, people who come from other places, other states, and come out here to do the outdoor activities and everything. And people here are super friendly. Like, I know in some other states in America, like, people are not friendly and they don't want to talk to you, and just the state of the world now, like, people are changing. People are not as, like, I guess, normal or sane as they used to be. It's either they're glued to their phone or they're just, I don't know, like, you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there are a lot of great things about Utah that I love, but I'm also ready to get out of my comfort zone. And I also just I also just need to get the fuck out of the environment that I'm in. I'm gonna make another video about that, because I feel like I owe it to myself and to the other people who almost need like a voice to say that, like, you don't have to keep living and you don't have to limit yourself to that environment. And you owe it to yourself to do everything you can to build yourself a safe space. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, Utah is very sheltered. People here are very, they can be weird, I'm not gonna lie, but they can also be very sheltered. A lot of people here, they just stay here. They don't get out of their comfort zone. They don't try to experience new things. And I don't even mean that in a way of like they just live at home with their parents. Like, again, there's nothing wrong with living at your parents' house, but I do think some people abuse it, and some people get too comfortable. And I know in this economy, like, I will always say this and stand by this, like, I don't judge anybody for living at home in this economy. In general, in my culture, it's very normal to live at home with your parents until you get married, which is why my mom's like, you're not going anywhere, you're not moving out until you get married. It's shameful. And I'm like, I'm not somebody to own, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna get married. The fuck, I might die before I get married, who knows? Like, I can't just bet on my rizq. Like, it's called rizq for a reason. Rizq means it's kind of like if it happened, how do I explain it? I don't know how to explain rizq in English, but it's kind of like a way of saying if it's meant for you, it will come for you, but it might not. Like, it's not guaranteed almost. But all that to say, like, I'm not somebody to like own one day, or like I'm not looking at marriage in that way, but I can't just bet on marriage. I can't just wait for somebody to come and take me out of this poor environment. Like, no. But it's also just taboo because, I don't know, my mom has like the older generation mindset. You know what I'm talking about if you live in a Somali household or African household. But all that to say that, like, it's very normal in my culture, and I don't, in general, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But I know so many people who refuse to grow the fuck up and who abuse the environment that they're in. Not the environment, but the just living at home. You know, they don't have to do anything. They don't have to pay rent. They don't have to do this. They don't have to take responsibilities. And I'm in the opposite, like, where I have to like pay bills. I have to pay rent. And then on top of that, I don't even like the environment I live in. So I'm like, I might as well just get my own fucking place. Like, what do you mean? So yeah, and then there are people like here who just stay at their hometown and they just refuse to open themselves to new experiences and get out of their comfort zone. And it's kind of depressing to see, because it's like you don't know anything other than where you've grown up your whole life. Like, you're so like, people here are so sheltered, it's laughable. Because it's like, you don't, like, as somebody who was born and raised in Kenya, came here 2015, moved twice from different cities to Utah. Even Utah is so different depending on where you go. Like, it is a small state, but the city is so much different than like the suburb, and my family lives in the suburbs, so there's that. But that's just something I discuss with people here a lot, is how sheltered people are. But yeah, I just think that this state is kind of boring, to be honest, because I love it and hate it here. Like, it's a very complicated hate and love relationship. There's not really much, and I just want to get the fuck out of my environment again. Let me go back to my point. This is a little bit of a rant video, to be honest with you, but I don't really know if I even want to go to college. I'm willing to give it a chance and try it, but I'm grateful that I took the trade route. It felt lonely at first and I was doubting myself, but taking the trade route gave me a lot of room to breathe and to think and to figure things out without having to be stressed with 4 classes and generals, because you take prerequisites but you don't have to do generals. It's just right, again, straight to the point. It just gave me a lot of room to be able to breathe, and also like to be able to work full-time, but even then that can be stressful. And I don't like the way the school system is set up, and these colleges, like, I don't think people understand how predatory they can be, because when you're young, like, they're like, come here and chase your dreams and do this and that, and it's like, I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. Like, you have to be realistic sometimes, but they're just gonna tell you, yeah, like, major in whatever you want and da-da-da, and then you do and you graduate and you're like, oh, this degree is oversaturated. Like, it's not as simple as major in whatever you want and get a job after that pays you exceptionally well. But I also just don't like the way the school system is set up, and with AI now, I don't know. I don't know where the future of college and education is gonna go in America, because now professors don't really care as much, because of AI. A lot of people are just using AI to get through their degrees. And I also just don't like the sentiment of like, you have to get a degree in order to be like valuable and things like that. Like, I'm so glad people are waking up to the fact that like a degree is not everything. And also there are a bunch of people who have degrees who have, no offense, but very stupid. And I think I will always get behind this, and I will always say it with my full chest. I think what shapes somebody is their experiences, and they're willing to just experience and learn. And I'm not like, college does give you that, but you don't have to go to college to get that. And that's something I've learned early on, and I'm very grateful I've learned early on. But a lot of kids also just go to college for the partying, for this, for that, and I'm like at that point, you're just wasting your time. And I always tell people who are young, who are my age, that like, if you don't know if you want to go to college or not, or like, well, if you don't know if you want to go to college or not, you don't have to like go just because everybody else says it. You can just take your time and find out. And I'm glad that I did that. I'm glad I took a semester off and find out if I wanted to go to college or not. And I'm glad that, again, I took the trade route, because now I think I could find a job, you know, be able to move out. I'm open to even moving out out of state and just opening myself up to those new experiences and I have a lot of plans for this YouTube channel, but also just a lot of things that I want to be involved and a lot of things that I want to do. I'm trying my best to get myself out there and to learn and to, you know, not procrastinate things, because I learned the hard way that you just gotta start. You gotta start somewhere. I just wanted to get this off my chest. I feel like I strayed from my point, but really in this video I was just trying to talk about like moving out, getting a job, even though the job market sucks right now, and college. And I'll keep you guys updated and let you know my choices and what I've decided. But if you're also somebody who hasn't gone to college and who's just trying to figure out their life, and whether you're going the business route or whether you're just went to trade school or whatever it is that you decided, be proud of yourself, because you are creating your own path. You're carving your own path, and that's all that matters. Anyway, I'm gonna stop yapping. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. It's Lima. I'll see you again.